Join us now. I'm Kennedy. SNL yanked a promo for its show this weekend, hosted by Donald Trump. Donald managed to shoehorn in a quick jab against Ben Carson before NBC cowered and took it down.
Donald Trump is hosting Saturday Night Live this week with musical guest Sia. And because of equal time rules for television, Mr. Trump can only speak for 4 seconds in this promo.
So let me just say this. Ben Carson is a complete and total loser.
Katherine Timpf, National Review reporter, she is here on the party panel tonight. Also a correspondent on the Greg Gutfeld Show on FNC. Also, Will Rahn, the Daily Beast Washington bureau chief, a man so important he sweats dimes. And Gavin McInnes, host of the Gavin McInnes Show. Oh, it's going to be a good one. Did you hurt yourself on that?
Yeah, I hurt my spine quite a bit.
Sorry. We'll get an MRI during the commercial break. Well, welcome one and all. Will, I will start with you.
All right.
I think some of these immigration advocacy groups are worried that people haven't heard enough about Donald Trump's immigration vitriol.
Yeah.
Is the media not covering that enough?
This is actually, they've exposed something here. We're not talking enough about Donald Trump. We're not talking about his views on Hispanics. We just haven't devoted enough time to dissecting that yet.
Yeah.
So I
hadn't heard about it, frankly.
These groups would appear to be doing a little bit of self-promotion. If you actually, you go out there and you yell, and then they're going to, you yell their name, and you're going to get money out of it. I don't think this is a serious thing. I don't think they're actually complaining about anything that anyone's actually upset about.
No, and the guy in charge of Deport Racism, he's the one who did the potty mouth princess video with the little girls saying F words, and he changed
It's a good bit.
He changed his last name, I think, in the 90s to something that others would find offensive, so I'm not going to repeat it now. But I will ask you this, Gavin McInnes. Will Saturday Night Live cave?
No, they will absolutely not. They're actually pretty good. I mean, the last election, they were going after Joe Biden. When things get really PC, like Obama's last election, when everyone was in the tank for him, they were one of the few that was
kind of making fun of him.
Yeah, making fun of him. And I don't think they could ever recover from chickening out. I mean, they've had Al Sharpton, Jesse Jackson,
Rudy Giuliani. Yeah, well, Sinead O'Connor. If we're not going to stop there,
yeah.
How are they going to keep people from yelling stuff out who want a quick $5 grand?
I don't know. Is that a crime? Because I considered it once. I was there when Gerard Butler was on, and I thought, I could make history right now for just going, she used people, by the way. And then I chickened out, and every night I wake up going, she used people, by the way. Oh.
It's tough.
I don't think it's a crime. It's just rude.
Kat, it is tough. Is this whole thing an elaborate plan to discredit Donald Trump? Are they just going to spend 90 minutes embarrassing him?
It doesn't matter. He's unembarrassable because he never gets embarrassed. No matter what he says or does, he's like, yeah, I meant to do it that way. You're wrong. They love me. Everyone loves me. Those kids, he probably would say, they love me. It's because they love me.
Little Ricardo and Rosa.
he believes it. It's great. It's really great. I think that I would love to have an inner monologue like that. You know, do you ever get down on yourself and it's so sad and you wish you could just trump it up and be like,
never
no,
have a bad
I'm
day.
a star and I'm wonderful and that mistake was what I really wanted to do.
Are you sick of the protests?
I am. I'm really sick of the protests. Everybody who's protesting, they're not going to watch SNL anyways because they hate fun. They hate humor. They sit on the internet all day talking about this is problematic, and they write for Jezebel, and they're all the worst.
NBC Universal, you hate brown people. Love Luis Gutierrez.
Yes.
Head of the Congressional Caucus of Hispanic caucus goers.
It's the job of a TV station is to create a show people are going to watch.
Amen. In this day and age, that's a tough thing to do. In the last Democratic debate, Bernie Sanders, he scored some points with Hillary Clinton by lambasting ongoing Republican-led investigations into her damn emails.
The American people are sick and tired of hearing about your damn emails.
Thank you. Me too. Me too.
You know?
I hate her
now,
so much.
Now Bernie is singing a different tune, telling the Wall Street Journal that if Secretary Clinton skirted public records requests or compromised classified information, there are valid questions. Also, entirely coincidentally, Sanders is now losing to Clinton in New Hampshire, according to the latest Monmouth poll. So, Will, is this too little, too late going after her in the emails, for the emails after the debate?
Totally. He had his window, he had his opportunity, and now he's going out there and he's getting those little jabs in, you know, but it doesn't, that's not the socialist revolutionary America wants. You want a socialist revolutionary who's going to, you know, storm the palace, kill the czar. You don't want, it's like defending your big opponent. That's not what anybody wants.
No, absolutely not. And she is the ultimate Tsarina here. He's making excuses for why he didn't go on a longer diatribe at the debate, saying, well, maybe this is wrong, but, you know, we don't need to focus on this. He surrendered. Is he crazy?
I don't know if he's crazy, but I'm tired of hearing about Bernie Sanders.
No, I want a real serious socialist, someone who can kill 30 million farmers or even 50 million. Yeah. Someone who's going to do the hard work, the heavy lifting that Mao did and Stalin could do, or even Pol Pot.
Farmers suck.
This guy's a wimp.
Well, losing tastes like bad milk, Kat. I mean, it's the worst. Is Bernie getting sick of losing? Is that why he's made this turn?
I think he is. I think that he was priding himself on being the nice guy candidate. But what I find always with guys that consider themselves nice guys, they're just kind of passive-aggressive guys.
Oh, that's the worst.
Which, with his video ad, he said, I'm an honest candidate. How is that not kind of attacking Hillary? So he has been attacking her,
is what
but just in a passive-aggressive way. Nobody likes passive-aggressive men. So maybe he's trying to be more actively aggressive now, but it's weird. You can't do that.
Well, also, she's attacking people behind the scenes. So they are getting mad and getting revenge. Joe Biden chickened out when I think she attacked him.
No, I think she sent him the secret file of the Biden-esque pictures, which might be somewhat compromising.
She made him an offer he couldn't refuse. And I think with this, I had a nerd look into the code on that swearing kids video. And although it was framed as a Sanders thing, her name is still all over the code, Hillary 2016. I think she threw that stone at Trump from Sanders' glass house.
Oh, my garden. Well, I will check those tweets, I will recode, and I will welcome the panel back in moments. They are returning to discuss George Herbert Walker Bush ripping Dick Cheney and Don Rumsfeld, a brand new one. Plus, Dana Perino is here with her do's and don'ts for Tuesday's big FBN debate. Oh, you got to watch that. It's going to be a gooder. Welcome back. George H.W. Bush kept a respectful silence during his son's administration, but the former president has vented some harsh criticism of Donald Rumsfeld and Dick Cheney in a new biography by John Meacham. Special report with Brett Baer dived right in.
Meacham says George H.W. Bush believes that Cheney was pushed toward a harder line by his conservative wife and daughter.
Well, I think Bush 41 suggested that perhaps Liz Cheney and Lynn Cheney had an influence on Vice President Cheney.
We smile about it. We laugh about it. Same with my daughter, with Liz. But my family was not conspiring to somehow turn me into a tougher, more hard-nosed individual. I got there all by myself.
Cheney is reading Meacham's book, in which the 41st president calls the vice president iron ass. Cheney sees the comment as more compliment than criticism.
I took it as a mark of pride.
I took it as a mark of a good Pilates class. The panel is back. Katherine Timpf, Rahn and Gavin McInnes. So, Gavin, you took your glasses off, which made the panel 33% more intelligent.
Back.
And there we go. I think our culture is having in the midst of a new love affair with George H.W. Bush.
That's the way it happens when they get old and when they haven't been president for a while.
Yeah.
I think he's like Obama. He's worried about his legacy, and his legacy extends to his kids. George W. was known as a neocon and hawkish, and that's not hip anymore.
Does that drive George H.W. Bush crazy, though?
Yes. So he's taking it out of George W.'s legacy, and he's putting it on Cheney and Rumsfeld and saying, those are the nutty hawks.
Yeah.
My boy was just trying to get along.
Yeah, I mean, it's obvious that he is being defensive and protective of his son, and you can't blame a father for doing that. Very few people know the ins and outs of the job like that family. But are Cheney and Rumsfeld to blame for Bush 43's tarnished legacy?
Yeah, them and Bush and, you know, every other person who worked in that White House.
Yeah.
But, you know, it seems like this is sort of a fake conflict. H.W. Bush didn't actually really attack Dick Cheney in any kind of way. It was like a little partition, a little jab.
Yeah.
You know.
But is iron ass an insult?
No, I don't think it from like an old waspy dude like George H.W. Bush. I don't think he's like really putting Dick Cheney down here. I think Dick Cheney gets it.
He was a fighter pilot in World War II. I mean, that easily could have been someone's handle.
Right, right. Iron ass sounds pretty cool to me.
Iron ass, you do not have permission to buzz the tower. Sorry. All right, so Gavin says that he's worried about his legacy. I think that George H.W. Bush just doesn't care anymore. He's 91 years old. He's like, I'm going to say it like it is.
Exactly. I judge him for not going harder. I can't wait to get old. I think my 80s are going to be my golden years.
Yeah.
You can just say whatever you want. I'm going to be angry. I'm going to be hideously ugly and just saying all the things I've always wanted to say. And they'll be like, ah, she's old. It's kind of funny and cute. It's going to be awesome.
Yeah, and then when you give everyone money on top of it, they totally love you.
Yeah, that's true.
That's the key. Did Lynn Cheney and Liz Cheney turn Dick Cheney into an evil Sith Lord?
No, he's always been like that. In fact, there's a book written about him called Fly Fishing with Darth Vader. That's been his reputation since day one. Iron ass, Halliburton dude.
Yeah.
It's not like he was this soft flower that went. I don't know where that reputation started.
But it's interesting how George H.W. Bush remembers him as Secretary of Defense being measured and softer.
Yeah, because they didn't go into Baghdad, and then a decade later, Dick Cheney's licking his chops. He wants to get back in there. He wants to finish the job. But still, this is the guy who took the Iraqi foreign minister aside before we invaded the first time around. Tells him it's like you use gas on our troops. There's going to be a great silence in the desert. This is a guy who's always been tough and scary.
Oh, yeah. Wow. The Silence in the Desert. That was the name of my second acoustic album. And don't miss the Fox News reporting special, Destiny and Power, the Private Diaries of George Herbert Walker Bush, anchored by Britt Hume. It's this Friday at 10 p.m. Eastern on the Fox News channel. And coming up, the panel returns to weigh in on a very controversial and perhaps shocking debate. Is a hot dog a sandwich? The results will surprise you. And first, we're going to continue our countdown to Tuesday's Republican debate on FBN. Dana Perino is on deck to tell me her do's and don'ts for the candidates. Please stay right here.
I turn my camera on. I cut my fingers on the way.
On the way, I always love spoon. And speaking of spoons, in an interview last Friday, Rand Paul warned that free college tuition is like a drug.
The main thing I would say is that nothing's free. If someone offers you something for free, treat it as if they're offering you heroin, and think about the repercussions of what is free and what is a drug, an addicting drug like heroin, and the ramifications of that.
He went on to say that education today is expensive because it's a monopoly. The party panel is back. It's Katherine Timpf, Rahn and Gavin McInnes. Katherine, I'm going to start with you. I'm a little confused by the portrait he's trying to draw here. I think he means something very important, but is heroin free?
That's what I thought. I watch a lot of Intervention. These people seem to give a lot for their heroin.
They do.
It's not free. I don't know what he was talking about. I was so confused. Heroin's bad, and he thinks that giving things away for free is bad policy. So, but what?
I know. Are people supposed to say, but I really want heroin. I don't really want college. So, okay. But you think the comparison works?
Yeah. Just putting the policy aside, just judging this just as a metaphor. I think the heroin college thing kind of works.
Have you ever done heroin?
Yeah, sure, all the time.
Have you ever done college?
Recently? Not so much. But, it was like briefly, fun, but then afterwards it's going to screw up your liver. You never know. It's very hard to gauge what's the right amount of college. It's very hard to gauge the right amount of heroin.
Yeah, now, there are plenty of places, like in California, you can go to community college for fairly inexpensive wages. Yeah, I mean, you can find cheap college across this great land of ours. It doesn't necessarily need to be free, but there's still plenty of places where you can go to expensive college as well. Why are people doing that?
Class. If you go to New York City College, it's all immigrants, and the parents don't like the idea of their children fraternizing around with Polish people and weird Dominican types. So they spend 60 grand for these same professors, same classes, but to fraternize with the right class of people. Problem is, people don't get married in college anymore, so the parents don't get their classist ideal, and they end up with $60K and no husband or wife.
And that's a
it's
year.
Lose-lose.
That's not the 4-year grand tally. If only NYU costs $15,000 a year. It might have gone
But
there.
I'm saying 60 total.
Yeah, well, that's a lot for nothing.
Why are we fighting? We're agreeing.
Kevin, we're both Scottish somewhere. Well, perhaps the most controversial debate of our time. Are hot dog sandwiches or something else entirely? The dispute took up even more nuance after some Buffalo Bills players weighed in recently, and now the debate is everywhere. So, Will, is a hot dog a sandwich?
No, it is not. A hot dog, words have meaning. A hot dog is just the wiener, and it can be eaten as a hot dog by anti-bread radicals like yourself without the bun.
I'm not anti-bread, I'm anti-gluten. That's medically
Same thing.
prescribed. Don't drag me into your private
gluten
health.
is not bread.
Okay, but a hot dog bun is not the makings of a sandwich, because a sandwich implies two pieces of bread that are separate from one another.
Okay.
So if you have a hot dog and you slice it into pieces and you put it on a sandwich, that's a sandwich. It's no longer a hot dog.
No.
Wait, our hero sandwiches are often
what
still
about
adhering to one
submarine
side.
sandwiches?
Submarines?
And
It's not on a hot dog bun. That may be
It
a roll.
can be.
It may be on a big Kaiser roll. You're never going to see a submarine sandwich on a hot dog bun. And also, it's got individually compartmentalized pieces which fit into the
Why are we forced to
bun folder.
acquiesce into a sandwich category? Millennials get to have 37 pronouns for themselves.
Yeah.
Why can't we have sandwiches, hot dogs, and hamburgers?
Yeah,
Well, that's
why are
the
we
point.
getting
We should
mashed
let
together?
Because a sandwich is not a hot dog, and a hot dog is not a sandwich.
I agree. A hot dog is a hot dog.
I've totally lost track.
Is a hot dog a sandwich?
No, of
Exactly.
course.
Thank you.
No, it is not a sandwich because a hot dog is just a wiener.
It's a hot dog.
Never will
Yes.
be.
Yeah, this is like
Are
saying
you in
I think
agreement?
it's
Are
a
we all agreeing on the
sandwich,
same
sort
page?
of.
You think it's a sandwich?
I
or
mean,
it's
I
not a
guess,
sandwich?
well, if a lobster roll is a sandwich.
Lobster roll is not a sandwich. It's a lobster
not,
roll.
Yeah.
It's not a sandwich.
It would be called a lobster
I'm
sandwich,
open
wouldn't
to a
it?
lobster roll being a sandwich, but if you think a hot dog is a sandwich, I would like you to leave right now.
Okay, later. I don't know. I would never call it a sandwich.
I mean, if you ran a restaurant, you were writing the menu, would you put hot dog onto sandwiches?
Skinny
It depends.
wiener
Where else
sandwich,
would-
$2.89.
Where else would you put it? In its
Would
own
you be like
category?
people would go
It's a
up
hot
to you
dog.
and yell at
Yeah.
you about
Yeah.
that because it's not. It's not a sandwich. A
Well,
grilled
I would
cheese is a
love to get
sandwich.
yelled at about that, actually. That'd be hilarious.
It's happening right now.
In a tube?
His dream is coming true.
Yeah, the guy who made a sandwich was the Earl of Sandwich.
Exactly.
And
Yeah.
he's like, get me bread and cheese and meat and stack it up. And he's not the Earl of Hot Dog. That was a different guy.
Yeah.
Hot dogs are hot dogs, I guess. I disagree with anybody getting that mad about it.
I hope to the Lord that we have convinced you.
I have
of
no
our
emotional
race.
attachment to sandwiches or hot dogs.
Okay.
Well, this is the beginning of the end. First they come for our hot dogs, then they come for our liberty.
And then our
okay.
guns.
All right.
Speaking of which, the city of Liverpool is opening up fast walking lanes for its walkers after research shows 47% of Britons find slow walkers to be the most annoying part of high street shopping. Yes. Last year in Washington, D.C., National Geographic created lanes on a city block dividing pedestrians with cell phones from phone-free walkers, which I think is its own kind of nonsense. What's the real problem in Liverpool?
The real problem in Liverpool is people headbutting you or breaking a bottle in your face because you spilled their pint. So I would like to have a fast lane there to get away from the scousers who think that I took their cooking chicken. It's a deadly, violent place. It makes Glasgow look like the honeymooners.
I hear Glasgow is really nice this time of year. So what's more annoying, slow walkers or hearing Martin O'Malley sing?
Slow walkers, definitely. I find Martin O'Malley kind of charming.
You do? Yeah, he really can be soothing.
He's very strapping. He's very handsome. But no, you see this around New York City. This city is less efficient because of all of the tourists who are just like walking around gawking at, you know,
especially in this part of town. I mean, we're adjacent to Times Square, where you cannot move around when you're on your feet, which is supposed to be the fastest form of locomotion in the city.
I'm going to walk outside. I'm going to be mobbed by tourists. People are going to want me signing their foreheads and stuff. They're going to be slow moving and mouth breathing, and I don't want any part of that.
That's why you've always got a Sharpie. All right, well, will this actually keep people from gumming up on the sidewalk? Will it work?
It won't work because the people who are walking slow and on their phones, they're not paying attention to the lanes. Like when you're trying to get up the subway, and there's supposed to be a standing lane and a walking lane. There's always someone standing where they're supposed to be walking, and it is impossible, no matter how many social cues you send their way, for them to, they're just staring, you know, off into space. I got backpacks, and
They're
paying
somnambulant, to quote John Kerry from the 2004 presidential debate. Somnambulant.
Good callback.
Thank you very much, Will. I do my best when you are here because it really is like you are a living fruit basket.
I get that a lot.
Yeah, the riches of your brain present themselves like glistening produce.
Thank you.
And I
drink that juice.
I absolutely will.
It's a ranucopia.
Yes. Oh, Gavin, Will, and Kat, thank you guys so much for being here.
Thanks for
And everyone be spectacled. It's a rectacled. Yes. Coming up, personal finance instructor Tony Robbins. He tells me how to become a billionaire. Don't worry, I'll still hang out with you when I'm loaded. Yeah. Stay right here. Look at that jaw.